Genre, folktale. Essential question. Why is working together a good way to solve a problem? Jungle Treasures, a Southeast Asian folktale. Retold by Anna Harris. Illustrated by Liza Woodruff. Chapter 1. The People of Bharat. Once, on the edge of the jungle, there was a village called Bharat. The people who lived in this village were shy and timid. They hated to travel far from home. They always felt awkward talking with people from other places. Tall trees surrounded the village. Large orange fruit grew on these trees. The fruit looked as if it would be sweet and juicy, but the people of Bharat didn't like how it tasted. It was so sour it made their lips pucker. They named it sour fruit. The villagers liked another kind of tree. The trees they liked were sapwood trees. The villagers used the resin from sapwood trees as a fuel. They burned the resin in their lamps. This meant they could sit and talk by lamplight in the evenings. Unfortunately, sapwood trees grew all the way over on the other side of the jungle. Chapter 2. Living in Darkness. One night, the people of Bharat ran out of resin. The last of their lamps flickered and then went out. "What will we do now?" one villager asked. "One of us will have to go on a long journey to find more sapwood trees," another decided. "I'll go," a young man volunteered. After 3 days of walking through the jungle, the young man arrived at a village called Timur. What he saw there gave him a terrible surprise. People with axes were gathered around the largest sapwood tree. The villagers were about to cut down the tree that produced the most resin. The man from Bharat was alarmed. "Stop!" he said furiously, running toward the villagers. "What are you doing? You can't get rid of these wonderful trees." "These trees are useless," said a man from the village. "Yes, we voted and agreed to cut them all down," said another. "And you shouldn't interfere in the affairs of our village," added a third. "But the people from my village use the resin from sapwood trees as a fuel," said the man from Bharat. "If you cut them down, we'll have to sit around in darkness every night." Chapter 3. Very Useful Trees. The villagers of Timur were very surprised by this news. The man from Bharat agreed to show the people of Timur how to collect the resin from sapwood trees. The people of Timur agreed that the man from Bharat should take a Timur woman back to his village. Then she could see for herself how useful sapwood trees really were. The next day, the young man from Bharat and the woman from Timur set off together. 3 days later, the pair arrived at the village of Bharat. But what the woman from Timur saw there was a terrible shock. People with axes were gathered around the oldest sour fruit tree. The villagers were about to cut down the tree that produced the most fruit. The woman from Timur was alarmed. "Stop!" she said furiously, running toward the villagers. "What are you doing? You can't get rid of these wonderful trees." "These trees have sour fruit," said a woman from the village. "It falls to the ground and rots, and then it creates a smelly mess," another woman added. "So we decided to cut the trees down," added a third. "But sour fruit are so useful. My people cut the fruit up and dry it in the sun, said the woman from Timur. Then we put it into our cooking to add flavor. Sour fruit trees only grow on this side of the jungle. If you cut them all down, we won't be able to cook our tastiest dishes. Chapter 4. Working Together. That night, the woman from Timur put on a big feast for all the people of Berat. She included dried sour fruit in many of the dishes she cooked. She showed the villagers of Berat how to prepare meals using the fruit. The food was laid out on long tables. The tables were lit with lamps fueled by resin from sapwood trees. The whole event was a big success. "This food is delicious," declared the man from Berat. "It's so nice not to sit around in the dark," said the woman from Timur. "We must attempt to talk more often," said the man from Berat. "I agree," said the woman from Timur. The villagers decided they would not cut down a single tree. The people of Berat started to put dried sour fruit in their cooking. The people of Timur began to burn resin in lamps at night. In this way, the two villages worked together to solve their problems. What were the solutions? They traded sour fruit for resin and vice versa. Urban roots. What's your favorite fruit or vegetable? Urban Roots is a group of teenagers in Austin, Texas who know a lot about growing healthy food. The group helps run a 3.5-acre garden on the outskirts of the city. They grow tomatoes, squash, melons, eggplants, beans, and many other vegetables. They grow fruit and flowers, too. Each year, they produce about 30,000 pounds of food. The teens at Urban Roots are helping to solve a problem in their community. Some of the people who live in Austin have very little money. In some neighborhoods, there are not many places to buy fresh fruits and vegetables. Urban Roots sells the fresh food they grow at farmers markets. They also give away some of the food they grow. They take it to places that give food to people who need it, including food banks, soup kitchens, and Meals on Wheels. Caption: These Urban Roots interns are harvesting okra to sell at the local farmers market. Teamwork is important. The garden needs everyone's cooperation to succeed. Fun is important, too. Each year, there is a farm fest at the garden. Events include pepper tastings and a rotten tomato toss. Urban Roots is a great way for teens to involve themselves in something that is fun and useful. Flowchart. Food from Urban Roots. Chart labels. Soup kitchen. Food bank. Farmers market. Meals on Wheels. Caption: These Urban Roots teens are serving a meal they prepared.